Power is the most dangerous game ever played. It builds empires, and it destroys souls. Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power is the most banned book in the American prison system. Why? Because it doesn't just teach you how to survive, it teaches you how to hunt. If you've ever felt invisible in a room, if you've wondered why the incompetent rise while you stay stagnant, or if you simply feel like a pawn in someone else's game, you need to understand the mechanics of the machine. But be warned, Nietzsche called it the will to power. Carl Jung called it the shadow. Today we aren't just listing rules. We are tearing apart the human psyche. We are ranking the 48 laws from necessary survival to psychological warfare. Let's enter the forbidden manual. Before you can rule, you must survive. The first tier of laws is about reputation management. This is where most people fail because they are too open. Sigmund Freud told us that the human mind is driven by hidden desires. But in the social world, revealing those desires is fatal. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Humans are uncomfortable with silence. We fill it with chatter. But as Robert Cialdini notes in the Principles of Influence, scarcity creates value. The less you say, the more intimidating you appear. You become a blank screen, and people project their own fears onto you. Law 10. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. This isn't just superstition, it's emotional contagion. Psychologists like Jonathan Haidt explain that emotions are infectious. If you associate with chronic victims, their bad luck becomes your psychological burden. Cut the cord, or you will drown with them. Law 5. Guard your reputation with your life. In a world of chaos, your reputation is the only currency that matters. It is your persona, the mask Jung says we wear to face the world. Without it, you are vulnerable. With it, you are untouchable. But defense alone won't make you a king. To rise, you have to stop protecting yourself and start controlling others. Now we enter the realm of strategy. This is where Machiavelli meets modern behavioral science. You stop reacting to the world, and you start making the world react to you. Law 13. Appeal to self-interest, never to mercy. This is the mistake nice people make. They ask for favors based on gratitude. But Daniel Kahneman's research on cognitive bias shows us that humans are inherently loss-averse and self-focused. If you need help, don't beg. Show them what they gain. Greed is reliable. Gratitude is not. Law 9. Win through actions, never through argument. Arthur Schopenhauer wrote extensively on the art of being right, but Greene takes it further. Arguments trigger the ego's defense mechanisms. Actions bypass the logic centers of the brain. Demonstrate your power. Don't discuss it. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Hesitation is a smell. Predators can smell it. Jordan Peterson often speaks of the dominance hierarchy. When you hesitate, you signal a lower status. When you act boldly, you hack the hierarchy. You convince the crowd and yourself that you belong at the top. This brings us to Law 27. Play on people's need to believe. Humans are desperate for meaning. Gustave Le Bon, the father of crowd psychology, proved that the masses do not want truth. They want illusions. If you can offer a cause, a faith, or a fantasy, you don't just gain followers, you gain disciples. But here is the trap. There is a level of power that goes beyond mere success. It is the level where you don't just defeat your enemy, you break their spirit. This is the final tier, the laws of total control. These are the laws that utilize dark psychology and conditioning. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. This is the most brutal law. History and psychology agree. A wounded enemy seeks revenge. Naval Ravikant speaks on leverage, but this is the ultimate leverage, the removal of the threat. You must not leave a spark alive. As Machiavelli warned, men should be either treated well or crushed. Law 33. Discover each man's weakness. Every person has a thumbscrew. It might be an insecurity, a hidden pleasure, or a trauma. Gabor Mate teaches that trauma shapes our behaviors. If you find the childhood wound, the inferiority complex described by Alfred Adler, you hold the key to their will. Find the crack in the armor and you own the night. Law 11. Make people dependent on you. This is John Bowlby's attachment theory weaponized. If people are independent, they can leave you. To maintain power, you must become the source of their security, their money, or their happiness. You don't want to be loved, you want to be needed. And finally, the ultimate form of power. Law 48. Assume formlessness. In a fight, a rigid structure breaks. Bruce Lee knew this. Sun Tzu knew this. If they cannot define you, they cannot attack you. Be water, be the mist, be everywhere and nowhere. Every law we've discussed is a weapon. Some, like say less, sharpen your mind. Others, like crush your enemy, test your morality, and some, they risk corrupting your soul. Philip Zimbardo's Stanford prison experiment taught us a terrifying truth. When given power, ordinary people can become tyrants. The line between the master and the monster is thinner than you think. Here is the forbidden truth about the 48 laws of power. They aren't just rules for the boardroom or the battlefield. They are mirrors. When you read them, you don't just see how to manipulate others. You see how you have been manipulated. You see the strings that have been pulling you your entire life. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The moment you understand these laws, you stop being the victim. You stop being the pawn. You become the player. The question isn't whether you will use power. The question is, will you control it or will it control you?